Broadcasting across the nation, on your radio, and on Current TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
All right, 57 days to go. Let's get it over with. Just declare Obama the winner. Come on. Why drag it out? Hello, everybody. What do you say? Happy Monday, September 10. Great to see you today. This is the Full Court Press. We're coming to you live, coast to coast, from our nation's capital, right here. It's a sad day in Washington because it's been so good having the House and the Senate out of town, you know, but now we got to put up with all those guys coming back here. And they're back in town today, up to mischief. But the good news is they won't be here for very long. We'll bring you the news from our nation's capital, from around the country and around the globe. And, of course, take your calls as we do every day, giving you a chance to join the conversation at 866-55-PRESS. Good to see you today, and good to welcome back to the studio good friend of the program here, part of the Team Press, Eric Burns, as co-founder, co-head of Bullfight Strategies with Carl Frisch. Eric, how are you?
I'm doing great. Good to be here with you on Full Court Press on Current TV.
We are back from Charlotte.
Yes,
had a good time down there.
And alive. You survived it?
Barely.
Those conventions are tough.
No, I had a great time, but I just got a little sore throat because I just did too much screaming. That's all.
Down south, there's a lot of bourbon, and you mix the bourbon with the screaming and the yelling at me and that type of stuff, and this is what you get.
Beating.
This is the result. Yes, the violent verbal beatings.
Peter Ogburn, also back from Charlotte. Dan Henning and Cyprian Bolding were holding down the fort.
Yes, absolutely.
Here in the mothership, Washington, D.C. So we're teams all back together.
Here we are.
Yeah, how about it? I do have to mention that this Friday, September 14, very excited, going to be going back up to Buffalo.
All right.
To Buffalo since, Peter, the last time you and I went up to visit our friends at WWKB and went to the original where Buffalo Wings were.
The Anchor Bar.
That's right.
The Anchor
Bar. How could I forget?
Right.
I worked for Congresswoman Louise Slaughter for a time, who represents part of Buffalo, and they would bring me back the original Anchor sauce to make wings. So you should grab some. They sell
What
it.
I remember is when you order wings, well, they come out like on a platter.
Oh,
like
yeah.
a mountain of them, right? When you have a group at a table.
You need
It's
you need like a bib.
Sometimes when you go to these places, they claim that they created the first such and such or whatever. It's a little bit of a letdown. This was not the case. These were fantastic wings.
And you could have them, as I recall, the spice could be like mild or
Yeah,
hot
you could adjust.
or
Nuclear.
nuclear.
Or
Yeah.
nuclear.
Yeah.
Right.
Nuclear.
So that's Friday night, this Friday, September 14, 7 p.m. at the Talking Leaves bookstore. All the information, everything you need is on our website at billpressshow.com. And we invite all of our friends from Western New York to come over. I've made the mistake of calling it Northern New York.
They get very prickly about that.
I went to school in Western New York, went to school at night, graduated from Niagara University. So I invite all the students and faculty from Niagara, as well as everybody in the Buffalo area. Come on by, say hello. Talking Leaves Bookstore, 7 p.m. And I'll tell you more stories about Jerry Brown. Jerry Brown, whom I worked for at one time when he was first governor of California, is back in the news. I don't know whether you know, Eric, but last week, Chris Christie was asked a question about Jerry Brown, and Chris Christie said, "Oh, Jerry Brown, he's just an old retread."
Oh, God.
Jerry Brown wasn't very happy with that. Yesterday he had a chance to get back at him on CNN with Candy Crawley.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a feud. He basically just was warming up, throwing some red meat to the Republican from California. So he said I was a retread. And he was 14 when I was running against Jimmy Carter back in the New Jersey primary in 1976.
Essentially,
and ergo,
saying you're old.
I shouldn't be here.
Right.
Yeah, I'm old. Yeah, well, I'm 74. I'll be 74 and a half next month. But here I am. There is some experience. Hopefully, there's some wisdom. So I got kind of warmed up in one of my speeches. I said, "Okay, Christie, I challenge you to a 3-mile race. Try some chin-ups, maybe, and some
Essentially
push-ups."
saying that he's overweight.
No, essentially says this old retread can beat you any day of the week.
This old retread.
Good for him.
You know what? He can. Jerry runs 3 miles a day, every day, never misses. And I was telling these guys earlier, last time I saw him, went to pick him up at a friend's house where he was staying when he was in Washington to take him to some party. And he was still in his sweats when I got there. And he started talking about what good shape he is in.
Yeah.
And about the fact that I asked him if he still runs. He still runs. He works out. And he said, I'll show you. And he pops down on the floor and started doing push-ups.
Man, I have a
he did 35 push-ups. We counted them, 35 push-ups.
Oh, my gosh.
And this is a great shit. You know, I'd like to see Chris Christie do. No, I wouldn't.
I'd like,
but I don't want to see him.
I don't know that he could do a push-up.
I want to see it.
I doubt that he could do one.
He would just sort of be there like a weeble wobble, just like he could never actually get down and back up.
But while he was trying, he would be picking a fight with somebody, it seems like. I mean, the guy can't open his mouth, without trashing somebody, and now it's anyone that's older than him.
So let's have it. Let's have the square off between Jerry Brown and Chris Christie. I know my money.
I would love to see that.
So would I. All right. So Eric Burns is with us, a friend of Bill, this entire hour. We'll be joined by Rachel Smolkin, who is the White House editor for Politico, just a little bit later. But first,
This is the Full Court
Wake Up
Press.
Dan.
On this Monday, other headlines making news. The NFL season opened up in full this weekend with several surprise wins, including the #2 draft pick Robert Griffin III, better known as RG3, leading the Washington Redskins to victory over
The Redskins are going to the Super Bowl.
the New Orleans
They're going to the
Saints.
Super
They
Bowl.
won one game.
They won 40-32. Peyton Manning threw his 400th touchdown pass to help his new team, the Denver Broncos, beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, and other notable winners included the Bears over the Colts, the 49ers over the Packers, and the Eagles over the Browns.
And the tragedy is, the sad news is, that the Nationals here in Washington have the best record in Major League Baseball. And I went to the game yesterday, and you would think the fans would come out to support the local team.
They didn't.
It was a little over half full.
Sure.
But that was
man.
it. And why? Because everybody was watching the Redskins on television.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
President Obama had some fun at an unannounced pit stop on the campaign trail in Florida over the weekend. The Pool reports he stopped into a Florida Gators bar in Orlando, ordered a beer while working in the room, and
Another beer for Obama.
yeah, he led the crowd
Was
in
it a Bud Light?
Led the crowd in a rendition of "Happy Birthday" for someone, and then he met a 7-year-old boy from Hawaii. The president couldn't help but ask him if he had a birth certificate.
Nice, very nice. This is Obama's second beer since he's been in office.
Are you kidding? Yeah, right. I'm sure he said to that kid, so were you born in Kenya too?
Yeah.
And some might call it the holiest of holy books. A Bible once owned by the late Elvis Presley sold at auction over the weekend. The winning bid, $94,000 for a book that Elvis got as a gift in 1957. He owned it for 20 years until his death, made several personal annotations throughout the Bible.
I mean, that's more valuable than having Martin Luther's Bible. You know, Elvis Presley's Bible. I mean,
That would be pretty cool. $94,000 is a lot of money, though, Bill. I mean, that's for a book, especially when you can go to Graceland.
but God owns it. You know, and we know what a Christian Elvis was when he, for example, when he talked about, turn the other cheek. If people offend you, you turn the other cheek. That was Elvis's motto too. Here's what he learned from the Bible.
That is dangerous, that is damaging to myself, to my little daughter, to my father, to my friends, my doctor, to everybody, my relationship with you, my relationship with the on state. It is dangerous. I will pull your damn tongue out by the roots.
That's it. That's his version of turning the other cheek. I will pull your damn tongue out.
It sounds like the Christian right today. I mean, I don't think they would consider him a Christian. Though. I don't think he'd be allowed in the club.
Pull your damn tongue out by the roots. Okay. So, Eric, you watched both Tampa and Charlotte.
Well, I slept through Tampa, a lot of Tampa. It was horrible.
Wish I could have. To me, it's stunning, the contrast between those two conventions. I ran into Senator Barbara Boxer at our favorite little French restaurant next door here last night, and she was saying the same thing. I mean, she obviously was at Charlotte. She spoke at Charlotte. But the Republicans, when you looked at them, all they could do in Tampa was say how bad Barack Obama was. Nothing about how good Mitt Romney is.
Well, yeah, There's nothing to say. I mean, that's the problem. This is a party without an agenda, and I think it's a party that wants to see America fail, as we were discussing that, and that really just kind of became clear.
And in Charlotte, it was all positive about President Obama and the job that he's done, and still the things that he still has yet to do and wants to do. You know.
Yeah. I mean, look, I thought the electricity of the convention, watching it from here in Washington, was incredible.
No wonder the Democrats came out of their convention with a bounce.
Absolutely.
Obama's up at the latest, the daily tracking poll. We really probably shouldn't talk about them because I do think they're meaningless. But to the extent that they show anything, Obama is up 49 to 44 right after the convention. After Tampa, Romney actually went down.
Yeah, I heard at one point that some of the internals for the Romney camp had during the Tampa convention had him down by close to 9 points.
Whoa.
And that's obviously not something that they're talking about very widely. But
and I've also seen the surveys of the swing states, and in most of the swing states now, if not all of them, Romney is losing, but Obama has a lead, slim lead, or a pretty widening lead, like Ohio. Seems to really be he's pulling it out.
Well, the auto bailout. I mean, really, I think just demonstrated exactly why this administration, this president, has been pursuing the exact right course for this country, and he's even ahead in Virginia.
And
that's a problem for a Republican candidate for president.
He's been working for Virginia too. Now, I think things then actually got worse for Romney yesterday, in a couple of ways. One, he appeared on Meet the Press. Now, his number one, the one thing we know, and there's a lot we don't know. We don't know about his tax returns. We don't know about
much.
We don't know about Cayman. We don't know about the Swiss bank accounts. We don't know about how many dressage horses he owns. But we do know that he said his number one promise is on day one he will repeal Obamacare, right?
Yes.
We know we can count on him to repeal Obamacare.
He's been saying it.
Until yesterday. Here he is with David Gregory.
On health care, you say that you would rescind the president's health care plan on day one. Does that mean that you're prepared to say to Americans, young adults and those with pre-existing conditions, that they would no longer be guaranteed health care?
Well, of course not.
Of course not.
I say we're going to replace Obamacare, and I'm replacing it with my own plan. And, even in Massachusetts, where I was governor, our plan there deals with pre-existing conditions and with young people.
So you keep that as part of the federal plan?
So let's pick up there just to get this in. So David Gregory picks up now. So what's going to be in, and what's going to be out?
Well, I'm not getting rid of all of health care reform. Of course, there are a number of things that I like in health care reform that I'm going to put in place. One is to make sure that those with pre-existing conditions can get coverage. Two is to assure that the marketplace allows for individuals to have policies that cover their family up to whatever age they might like.
Now, so we know two things that he says now.
Sound awfully familiar.
That he will leave in. Right. Which are key planks of Obamacare, if you want to call it Obamacare. But even with one of them, he will allow kids to stay on their parents' plan for as long as they would like.
Oh, my.
I mean, I know.
Doesn't that make him a socialist, according to their own definitions?
But it's not unusual for children to, maybe they're 50, 55, 60. Their parents are still alive.
My mom, I would love to be on her health insurance plan. It would save me a lot of money.
Your mom's still alive, right?
And she's still here, yeah, absolutely.
According to the Romney plan, you could still be. So it's no longer to 26. Now it's until 70. Hell, if your mom's still alive, she's 95. You got health insurance through your mother.
Well, I think this just cuts to the core of the problem of Mitt Romney and this Republican Party is who are these guys? And who is Mitt Romney? What is he for?
What does he believe in, if anything? Right.
Yeah, and I think it is him, but it is symbolic of where this GOP is. They don't know where they are. They don't know what they want. They can't even articulate what they want to do. I think that what he really wants is he just wants to rename Obamacare Romney Care when he gets into the White House so he can get the credit for it, maybe.
Yeah, well, he could have gotten credit for Romney Care in Massachusetts if he would just acknowledge that it's his plan, it's a good plan. It's so good, in fact, that President Obama borrowed it for the national plan.
It was the blueprint for health care reform.
But I come back to, I know it's impossible for you, it's impossible for me, but try to put yourself in the shoes of a Republican. Okay, here's my guy. Here's my guy. And I like Mitt Romney because Mitt Romney vows that on day one he's going to repeal Obamacare. He said that all through the primaries.
Yes.
He has said it since
2 years.
He won the primary. Right. And now all the way up to the convention. He said it at the convention. And now a week after the convention, he changes his mind. What am I supposed to think of my candidate?
I think that's exactly why we saw such a flat convention in Tampa, because people are confused. Even Republicans are confused, and they don't know what to believe. They don't know what to think. This guy's a loose cannon. We don't know what he's going to do should he, God forbid, win the White House.
Even Republicans can't trust their candidate.
Absolutely.
Mitt Romney. He proved it over the weekend. We're just getting started on Mitt Romney this Monday morning with Eric Burns from Bullfight Strategies. 866-55-PRESS. Remember, it is bullfightstrategies.com. We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show, live on your radio and current TV.
Full court press on this Monday, September 10. Eric Burns in the studio with us. We will get back to our conversation and your calls, but wanted you to know it's 26 minutes after the hour now. A big change in the lineup on current TV for prime time. So excited that Joy Behar is on current now. Her show launched last week. And it's at 6 o'clock, repeated at 9 o'clock now, which means that it's Joy Behar, then followed by The Young Turks with Cenk Uygur, and then Elliot Spitzer, then Joy Behar repeated at 9, and then The War Room with Jennifer Granholm is now at 10. That's all Eastern, of course. So War Room, Jennifer Granholm, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific.
Yeah, Joy Behar's show,
lineup.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I was so excited, so impressed.
She's so much fun. Anyhow, so she'll be at 6, repeated at 9 o'clock. So be sure to make a note of that. All right, we're talking politics with Eric Burns, but I know you're from Texas, so I've got to ask you about this. Okay, this story has been intriguing me all day.
Yes, sir.
They have a new toll road in Texas, and they just set the speed limit for this new 41-mile stretch of toll road, 85 miles per hour. The fastest in the country. What the hell's going on, Eric?
It's Rick Perry. I mean, what do you want? Do we even need to explain it beyond that? I do have one funny story. I had a friend in high school, being from Texas, got a ticket on the toll road when I was still living there, and her explanation to the cop was, I paid a toll. I thought I could go as fast as I want. This is actually the mentality of my home state, but I drive kind of fast, so I personally, if I go back up, I'm not too disappointed about the higher speed limit.
85.
It's a little fast, but
I'm all for it.
Do they allow trucks on this toll road?
I don't know. That's a very good question.
18-wheeler?
That would be
85?
dangerous.
Yeah. But my thing is, I know if it's 60, I go 65 at least, maybe 70. If it's 85, dude, I'm going 100.
120.
We'll be right back.
This is the Bill Press Show. On your radio, on TV, The Bill Press Show, new on current TV.
Here we go, 33 minutes after the hour now. It is the full court press on a Monday morning, September 10. We are back in our nation's capital, back from the Democratic Convention in Charlotte, North Carolina. Eric Burns from Bullfight Strategies joins us in studio. Full court press brought to you today by the National Education Association. Our great teachers, good men and women of the NEA under President Dennis Van Rokel, creating great public schools for every student in the land. For more information, go to their website, NEA.org. Teachers unions, of course, under fire these days, and it was a lot of fun to join representatives of the NEA and the AFT in Charlotte at one of their big events down there. Charlotte was a lot of fun, and right away, President Obama and Mitt Romney back on the road, swinging from one swing state to another. It's going to be that way for the next 57 days. which keeps people like Rachel Smolkin very, very busy. She is the White House editor for Politico, joining us on our news line. Hi, Rachel. Good morning.
Hi, Rachel.
Good morning. How are you?
All right, we're great. President Obama, a rare 2 days in the White House today and tomorrow to catch up on things, and then he'll be back on the road again. When you look at Charlotte, the president came out of there not only feeling good, but looking better in the polls, right?
Early polls do have him up a couple points. There was a Reuters poll over the weekend that did that, and of course we'll all be watching the polls very closely this week to see what happens in the next few days. There was an interesting question about whether the jobs report out on Friday was going to affect a convention bounce, so we'll be watching for that. But in key states like Ohio, the president is now leading by a couple of points. This is likely to remain a very tight race right up until Election Day. But if you had to say which candidate has a small advantage at this point, it would seem to go to President Obama.
It looks that way for the first time in the national polls, but also, as you point out, on the which is the most important of all, on the swing states, because we do elect state by state by state in the Electoral College. Virginia.
That's right.
Yeah.
Virginia, and a state like Ohio that is so important, it's not an absolute must-win for either, but the path, particularly for Romney, becomes very, very difficult if he does not take Ohio.
Yeah, the numbers, I was just trying to remember. I saw on ABC News last night the number with Ohio, he would be at about 250 or something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for Romney in the Electoral College. I mean, as close as the race may be with the polls. And I think, and Rachel, maybe you can speak to this. The Obama campaign is a pretty incredible, like, micro-targeted campaign operation. I think that a lot of folks inside seem to feel are really going to pay off in terms of turnout.
That's right. This is a very base election that we're seeing both sides running. There are roughly 6% undecided voters, and of course, depending on how they break, could make a big difference in some of these key swing states. But the campaigns are targeting to particular groups. In Colorado, for example, we saw President Obama campaigning recently with Sandra Fluke, and it's that kind of campaigning that we're going to see from now through Election Day. Now, I will say the polls at this point still very, very close. Make or break moment for both campaigns we're going to see in the debates next month. That's the next big event that both campaigns are looking forward to, and we've already seen Mitt Romney spending some time in debate prep, starting to get ready for those.
You know, I'm interested also on the pivotal issues. Romney, I know in the beginning wanted to make it economy. That's all he wanted to talk about, right? And then Paul Ryan gets on. He names Paul Ryan as his running mate. And then there's talk about the Romney budget and about Medicare. And leading up to the Republican convention, it was Medicare, voucher care, what's really going to happen with that. Romney even saying it's my plan, not Ryan's plan anymore. Coming out of the convention, is it going to be back to economy, or will the social issues dominate?
We've really seen the Romney campaign trying to regain that focus on the economy. This question, they were hitting hard leading into the Democratic Convention of, are you better off? Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? And that's something that right before the convention, some of the president's top campaign aides really struggled with the answer to that question. Some of his surrogates struggled as well. But I think we saw Democrats try to regain the upper hand a little bit during the convention.
I think Bill Clinton
in particular came out with a very strong answer on that.
Bill Clinton answered that question.
Yeah, I think that they've been successful in turning that around. I mean, 4 years ago we were bleeding 750,000 jobs a month, and our economy was in collapse. I mean, do you think that that's going to?
President Clinton hit that very hard in his speech. That was a key moment, a very important moment for the Democrats, really laying out that case that the Republicans had set us back, and that, of course, President Obama, in Clinton's words, had gotten us on the right track, but you can't erase these mistakes, as he termed them, in 4 years, that it takes more than that. And not only did he do that, but he really connected some of the president's signature achievements, such as the health care bill, to the idea that Americans were better off. So we really saw him create this almost prosecutorial case, laying out point by point a defense of the president's record.
It was very powerful.
Rachel Smolkin is our guest. Eric Burns in studio. Rachel on our newsline. She's the White House editor for Politico. You can follow her work at politico.com. follow Rachel on Twitter. Her Twitter handle is @Rachel Smolkin, Smolkin. So, Rachel, the one thing we knew about Mitt Romney, we may not know what's in his tax returns, right? But we do know that his number one goal, day one, repeal Obamacare. He said it all during the primaries. He said it all the way in this campaign up until Tampa. Repeal Obamacare, day one. Yesterday, as you know, we played the clip a little earlier on the program. Suddenly he tells David Gregory, well, not all of Obamacare. There are parts of it I like. What's going on?
Right. Expect to see more coverage of that question. He muddied the waters a little bit. I mean, the issue is that some parts of Obamacare, as everyone, including the president now calls it, are popular. You know, the pre-existing condition coverage allowing young adults to remain on their parents' health insurance after they graduate from college. There are pieces of this bill that are very popular. The bill as a whole is not popular. So, Mitt Romney, who passed his own health care law, of course, in Massachusetts, now trying to figure out how to embrace certain popular elements of the bill without embracing the whole bill. The Obama people, of course, will argue that the only reason the popular elements work is as a whole with all these other pieces and everybody buying health insurance in order to keep costs reasonable for all.
It's I just, in terms of strategy, right? I mean, It just seems to me a strategic mistake on the part of the Romney people that now they're in this neither fish nor fowl kind of position, right?
It certainly muddies things up. I mean, obviously, Mitt Romney trying to explain that he understands that, Americans need these popular pieces, but then you immediately walk into this sort of, minefield of, oh, wait, you support this and not that, and didn't you support health care in Massachusetts, and what is that? So expect to see this, I'm sure we will see the Obama campaign continue to hit that this week.
Right. Let me take one other, just for example, one other easy piece is that the part of Obamacare is that the insurance company can no longer dump you if suddenly you have a serious illness, you or a member of your family, and you're pulling more money out of the pool than they had anticipated that you might. Before they could just summarily dump you. Now they can't. So I can just see the next question to Romney is, now what about this plank, right? And then it's going to be, now what about this other one? And
right. If you get into the position of going piece by piece, you're going to be asked about every single element of the bill. Well, I don't support a mandate, okay, but how do you achieve, pre-existing condition coverage for everyone without a mandate? That gets into a much more slippery slope, as they say.
Rachel, this is Eric. I have a question for you, because I feel like this is a problem that Mitt Romney has on almost every issue across the board. I don't know that I can think of a single issue that he has not really been on both sides of over his career, between running for president and as a governor. I mean, can you? Can anyone? Because it just, and do you think that's going to hurt him, especially when we consider that in 2004, they killed John Kerry on one vote, on this one statement he made about a vote?
The point you raised goes to a messaging question that the Obama campaign has struggled a bit with early on. We saw them really trying to define Mitt Romney as a flip-flopper, someone who had no core. And then we saw the messaging change after the primaries. They altered it a bit to focus on painting him as more of a right-winger. So that said, this, is he on the right or does he flip-flop was a real messaging question for the Obama campaign. Romney, of course, has been consistent in his attack on the president, simply saying that he didn't get the job done. He's been in office for 4 years. Things were bad and things are still bad. So in a way, it's a much cleaner message that the Romney campaign is running with.
I think the problem is with Romney's base, or maybe with the independents. Eric, I was just thinking of on the abortion issue. Romney says he supports the Human Life Amendment. Human Life Amendment has no exceptions for abortion. Then Romney says, well, I support the Human Life Amendment, but I favor exceptions in the case of rape, incest, health, or the life of the mother. So again, I'm totally against abortion on the one hand, but on the other hand, I'm not, right? So again, Rachel, it's this attempt to be in the middle, right, which I think is confusing maybe at the best to some people.
It feels like Romney wants to be all things to all people. And Rachel, do you get the sense...
Or wants not to reveal his position on everything, and that Rachel was the other thing where Romney and over the weekend, we haven't had a chance to talk about this yet. Eric and I haven't, where Paul Ryan was pressed by George Stephanopoulos to give the specifics of what tax loopholes you're going to get rid of.
I was going to say, on the question of specifics, that's obviously the issue that emerged over the weekend, and we've seen the Obama campaign hit that hard this weekend. Romney was asked about which, deductions would you change, which tax loopholes would you close for the wealthy, and did not give any specific answers. Again, I think the strategy is let's stay broad, let's stay philosophical, but particularly as we get to debate season, he's going to be pressed a lot more on some of these issues. You can certainly expect the president to press him in the 3 debates that are.
I was just going to say in the debates for sure. Rachel, it's so good to have you with us this morning. Come in the studio one of these days. I'd love to see you here in the studio.
Wonderful. Look forward to it.
All right,
Great talking to you, Rachel.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Is the White House editor for Politico. Eric Burns is not going away. He's here as a friend of Bill. We'll be right back. Glad to take your calls, too. We always save a seat at the table for you. There it is. 866-55-PRESS. Give us a call.
Radio meets television. The Bill Press Show. Now on Current TV. On your radio and on Current TV. This is the Bill Press Show.
What do you say? 12 minutes now before the top of the hour. On a Monday, September 10, we are back from Charlotte, back in our nation's capital here. And members of the Senate and the House come back today, too. They're going to be here maybe off and on this month. That's it. And then they leave. I think it's 8 days, working days in the month of September.
And they've got like a 5-week break.
The poor guys.
I know, it's
imagine
tough.
having to work 8 days in the whole month after having 2 months off. Yeah, right. Eric Burns here from Bullfight Strategies. We're talking Romney, Ryan. Romney now saying, I won't appeal. I won't repeal all. No matter what I said for the last 2 years.
Yeah. Forget that.
Forget that now. I've changed my mind. Now I'm going to keep parts of Obamacare and not repeal all of it. Chris is calling from Granville, Vermont. Hey, Chris. Good morning.
Hi, Chris.
Good morning. How are you today?
We're good. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. What's up?
Well, my comment is that I think that the Republicans see that certain parts of the health care law are popular now.
Yes.
But they still want to repeal it because it has Obama's name on it. And they know how momentous it is. And they don't want Obama to have this wonderful law in his history.
So it's interesting. Even Rachel, I heard, I didn't pick up on it, but that the law of it itself, like Obamacare, is unpopular. Yeah, but when you look at the parts of it, right, the parts of it that have kicked in so far, Chris, are very popular.
Oh, absolutely. And people need it so badly.
And the next parts that are due to kick in, like pretty soon, the pre-existing condition now, that prohibition only exists for children. I think by 2014, it'll be for everybody who's got health insurance, right? So it's going to get more and more popular as more and more of it kicks in.
Absolutely.
Well, I think, and Chris makes a great point because I really just I don't agree with the analysis that has been around for a long time that this bill is unpopular. I think Americans realize they want health insurance for themselves, for their families, for their friends, and this is the last chance. They want health care. Excuse me. This is the last chance the Republicans have to rip it apart and create death panel smears and all of this nonsense before it actually kicks in, and then people are never going to want to let go.
Their whole convention, their whole campaign, their whole last 4 years has been on hate Obama. Hate Obama. I hate to say it. Yeah. Obama hate machine.
Absolutely.
I mean, right on with the name of this book. That's why I called it that. And so they put Obamacare on health care because they figured if they put Obamacare on it, nobody will pay attention to what's in it. They'll just hate it because Obama, like Chris pointed, Obamacare. So they hate Obama. They'll hate Obamacare. But now that more and more people are signing up for various provisions of it, they're saying, hey,
and the Democrats...
It's about time. I want to jump in because I do, before we leave, want to play... Here, so we talked about Paul Ryan.
Yes.
No specifics. Here he is with George Stephanopoulos. Stephanopoulos pressing him to say, you just can't not tell us what you're going to cut.
So we've shown, look, the Princeton study, the Harvard analysis, they have shown that you can lower tax rates, broaden the tax base, and yes, there is still room left for broad-based policies that the middle class enjoy so that nobody has a tax increase. We just stopped picking winners and losers in the tax code.
But Congressman, as you know,
Reagan did this, it worked.
Many say it's difficult to accept your word if you're not going to specify which tax loopholes you're willing to close. Don't voters have a right to know which loopholes you're going to go after?
So Mitt Romney and I, based on our experience, think the best way to do this is to show the framework, show the outlines of these plans, and then to work with Congress to do this.
Oh, we just showed the framework, but we won't put anything in the frame. But later we'll come back and we'll work on this.
Well, and look, this guy is the.
Did he get away with it?
He's the chairman of the House Budget Committee.
He is Mr. Specifics.
My God.
Yes.
That's that is incompetence. It's really frightening. And now we hear, VP candidate Ryan wants to work with Congress, in a mythical Romney administration. But yet, as chairman of the House Budget Committee, he was certainly happy to play brinksmanship with America's credit rating.
So he's got this budget already, which passed twice, House Republicans, with all the specifics in it.
Mm-hmm.
And now he says, well, that's not operative anymore because I'm only the vice presidential candidate and Mitt Romney is the one who makes the decisions. So you're gonna not cut taxes for the wealthy, but you're going to make up for all these loopholes that you're going to cut out, but he won't tell us which one.
Because I don't think that either one of them know which ones they're talking about. I don't think either that or they're just too afraid to say because they don't want to alienate some of their rich friends. I mean, God knows.
We have a secret plan for America. Yeah.
What isn't secret about these two guys?
To bring America down. All right. Oh, my God. We're just getting started, but we're out of time. So there you go. Eric Burns, great to have you here, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bullfight Strategist, good job. Great job, as always. And I'll be back with today's parting shot.
This is the Bill Press Show.